Welcome to Morning Coffee. I'm just so excited to be here today and, well, and each and every Monday. Because I just love sharing God's word. And, today's is a good reminder to us. Sometimes we go through things, the trials and whatnot, we go through things or things that we've already been through that what I'm going to be talking about is a reminder that God's grace is sufficient for us. And I'm going to be reading out of 2 Corinthians 12, starting in verse 7. It says, to keep me from becoming conceited because of these surpassing great revelations, there was given me a thorn in my flesh, a messenger of Satan to torment me. 3 times I pleaded with the Lord to take it away from me. But he said to me, my grace is sufficient for you, for my power is made perfect in weakness. Therefore, I will boast all the more gladly about my weaknesses, so that Christ's power may rest on me. That is why, for Christ's sake, I delight in weaknesses, in insults, in hardships, in persecutions, in difficulties. For when I am weak, then I am strong. And so, yes, this is a reminder of us that during those trials and times that we can look to God and find that His grace is sufficient. And we don't know what Paul's thorn in his flesh was, but we do know that it was chronic and that it was debilitating for him. And this thorn was a hindrance to Paul. And like he said, he pleaded with God 3 times to remove this from him. And God said no, you know, and this thorn, whatever it was, it kept Paul humble. And it worked as a constant reminder to him that he needed to be in constant contact with God. And not only that, but it spoke to the people around him and they could see what God was doing in his life. So minister to other people as well. As God said, my grace is sufficient for you. My power is made perfect in weakness. And this should encourage all of us to recognize our weaknesses and look to God for strength. I mean, we must rely on God rather than our own strength. We have to look to Him for our energy, our strength, our efforts, and everything. We have to look for God because we don't have it ourselves. And weakness not only helps to develop a Christian's character, but it deepens our worship with Him. And in admitting our weaknesses, we are affirming God's strength. And one of my kids, before I had my surgery, he said to me, he says, Mom, because I told him about everything that had happened. He said, Mom, well, God, He healed your back. Why didn't He just go ahead and heal your hip as well or your joint as well? But sometimes it's for our own good, like Paul. He needed to keep that. And sometimes God uses that to show others or to show other who He really is. And because I still had to have surgery on my joint, that the healing that God gave me for my back in removing the cancer, the fact that I still had to have surgery even spoke louder to others as to who God was. And so it spoke to the doctors, it spoke to coworkers, spoke to friends, it spoke to people I didn't even know because I was so excited about what God did for me. I went and I was sharing it with everybody, and so people, who don't even know me, I was telling them what God had done for me. And, it's just so exciting. So, but here's the thing. I had no choice but to rely on God for strength because for me, I didn't have any of my own. And God got me through it. because here I am. But it taught me to never to depend on my own strength or to try to work on my own strength, to always depend on God for that. Because when we do rely on our own strength, it can make us conceited. And then we begin to boast to others about what? About what we have done for ourselves. See, I couldn't do anything for myself. So I had to learn to boast on my weaknesses. And when we do that, yeah, we become conceited. But to boast on the weaknesses, you are showing people what God has done for you. When you boast on yourself, you're pointing the finger to yourself. When you boast on your weakness, you're pointing to people, to God. Look what God did for me. Because I depended on God, God made me strong through my weakness. So you see the difference there? So when we are weak and we look to Him, that is when we are made strong. So our disabilities or our thorn in our flesh, whatever that may be, they serve as a purpose for God's glory. And if it takes, putting a thorn in our flesh to get our attention, then so be it, right? Isaiah 41:10 says, "Fear not, I am with you, but be not dismayed, for I am your God. I will strengthen you, I will help you, I will uphold you with my righteous right hand." So you see, our help and our strength comes from the Lord, and that is something you can depend on. Okay, thank you for joining me today. I love you all, and until next time.